Truth is formed by your experiences. What's your experience? What's your truth? Join me and Kurt as we talk about tarot, psychedelics, and our soul mission and life purposes. Actually, yesterday I was talking with Joseph, and the puppies actually got free. They got out of the way the cage was set up, and it was this whole other thing. And then the whole thing went for almost an hour and a half of it, where it's I was stepped away from.
Great.
And I was like,
he's so creative in so many ways. He has so much, and he's bursting with energy. But it's awesome how much energy he has. I wish I had that kind of energy.
Yeah, no, me too. Sometimes I just wish I had the energy of a kid or a puppy. Just be can I harness that into a drink and just
right? Just do a vampire energy draw off them. Yeah. Can I just have this for a little bit, please? For a little
bit. You have such an abundance that you won't even notice it's gone.
Yeah, right.
No. Something I wanted to bring up was that yesterday you drew the star card, and we didn't really ever talk about that. That was pretty cool though. But I lost my train of thought of why I wanted to bring that up, but I remembered I wanted to.
It's still sitting here too. I didn't put it back on the deck. It's still sitting here.
Yeah. Do you remember
funnily enough,
go for it.
I was when Taro and I are not the greatest of friends yet. When I draw cards, it's usually I don't pose questions. I like to just do it based on the energy that's happening. I feel like if they're gonna want to tell me something, they're gonna tell me one way or another. I don't really have to ask a question.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. Just show me what's going on. So I was just shuffling, and that's what happened.
Nice.
I found it interesting because the star and doing interviews, it has a good vibe to it.
Well, and
embodying who you are.
Yes. Well, and the tarot has it has multiple cycle patterns. It has little yin and yang, so it has little trinities. And you got the star, the moon, and the sun. And the star's that beginning, it is that coming together, but I don't know. I can't remember why there's the two cups on it, but I remember it always looks like the person's dancing, they're dancing in the star, they're they're relishing in that light.
It's like filling your cup and emptying your cup at the same time. It is Aquarius as well, so it's the water body. Yeah.
Well, Aquarius is,
but I said,
it's new age.
Yannick.
Yeah.
Yannick is Aquarius, and I'm a hardcore Scorpio. So we're actually two fixed signs, and it works well. It's a difficult combination, because they're
No, I hear you. Well, my wife.
And I'm a sun and rising Scorpio.
Rising.
So
Scorpio.
I'm hardcore Scorpio, sun and rising. I'm the only my moon is Capricorn.
You're a Scorpio transitioning into a Scorpio.
Yeah.
Because your rising is essentially the direction your energy is moving.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sorry, what was your moon?
Capricorn.
Capricorn. No. Well, that's my sun, and 5 of the other planets.
I can see so many things and it's not novel, because I always have these abilities it's just unlocking abilities that I have. And I know if I were to work hard enough, I wouldn't need to use the tool to unlock them, but the things I can see, sitting in this room, the walls come alive, and it's almost like Sanskrit. It's some kind of written language on the walls.
Yeah.
And I know it's the energy. It's the energy that I've built into this room, and I can see it come alive and move. And if I put my finger somewhere, or if I draw, I can see the sacred geometry flow out of just my hand, hand to the paper, and it starts to glow, the energy that I'm putting out. It's insane. And then if I look at someone, I can look in your eyes. If I stare into your eyes, you'll see my pupils start to dilate like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you have, the massively dilated pupils, but they will constrict and like it's crazy. Yannick was like, "What the hell are you doing?" When I do that, it's like peering into your soul, and I can see your face start morphing into your past
It
lives.
starts
And I
contorting
can
into
see all your,
different, yeah.
I see all your faces, and then the other one is absolutely. I wish I could really like put it into words the correct way, but it's like it's your soul armor is kind of like what I call it. I can see it's like tribal tattoos, like that flowy, curvy. It's holographic. It's like fluorescent oranges and blues. It's very vibrant. It's very psychedelic in its colors, and it like flows all over your skin and over your clothes. But if you were to like take off your shirt, the pattern stays on your skin. And
Yeah.
I can see your animal totem. It takes on a form like in the face of like your Yannick's looks like a leopard, like
That's sweet.
jaguar leopard. It's wicked. And I had other friends that were here, and I saw theirs as well. I'm like, okay. Like I've heard the trees sing to me as
Mhm.
well. Oh, that was the most
Well,
beautiful thing. It was
the
huh?
animal totem, or like the energetic field, like this spirit armor. That's a good word for it. I was just thought it was like this energetic like pattern, like your own personal tapestry surrounding you, and your
It
like
looked
head.
yeah.
Like I've seen that on mushrooms. Like honestly, I've actually never done LSD, but on mushrooms I've seen that exact same thing where I can see someone and come up,
Mm-hmm.
and then for each one of their chakras, you can see like a totem pole in front of them of like, oh, your root chakra is an elephant. Like that's the guardian for that one, and then
Mm-hmm.
like it's yeah, it's really cool. That's one of the things I can only do when I'm like channeling the
Yep.
mushroom, and that's the best way I
Yep.
can explain is channeling the mushroom.
It's 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 insane. It's insane. And it's the fact that the thing that really baffles me is that it's always the same things. Like it's usually, you hear other people that are more novice, I guess, or do it just recreational, and their experience is different every single time.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing that came to me at some point was I used to have like little dreams as a kid of like indigenous people and like so forth. And it was after doing ayahuasca that it became clear that those were past memories. Like those were past memories. And I was like,
Hmm.
I just thought I had like a really big imagination as a kid. And it
Yeah.
just bled over into my dreams. And I'd have dreams that were like years long, like where, and then I found out that some of those weren't even here on earth. Like it's the concept of
Hmm.
like your soul has been here on earth a lot. Like you like reincarnating here on earth, but you've definitely had experiences elsewhere. But your
Yeah.
majority of your lives have been here because you like the story that's unplayed here. You like the way this is going. You like the
Mm.
direction it's going, and you're just you're meant to be a part of that systems because you enjoy because you know what it will be someday, even though you can't always see it in the current moment.
Yeah. Stupid linear Earthline 3D timeline things.
Yeah, yeah. But one of those, like when you snap out into, a higher realm where you can actually see the perspective down, you can
Mm.
see the whole picture. Which
It's a whole nother thing.
I can never explain that fully though. Like that's something you have to go experience yourself. Like,
Yeah, I've not had any experience of that sort where I actually depart into other realms other than when I sleep. Sometimes when I will go lucid. That's where I visited. That's where things got really trippy. I've had one where I was lucid and I was in a room and there were three Dumbledores there, and I automatically understood they were from different timelines.
yeah,
And we're sitting in the room, and I remember when I became lucid, I was like, "Wait a minute, why are the three of you here, and what am I doing here? Like this is not the normal realm. Like
like this
we
isn't how this
shouldn't be talking
works.
like this."
Yeah,
And then there's another where I went lucid, and I was actually on the Hogwarts Express, and Yannick was there with me, and I looked at him, and I went lucid again. I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm actually on the Hogwarts Express, and we're actually going to Hogwarts right now. What is going on?" He kind of grinned. He was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then I was sitting in a classroom, like I went out of lucid again, and and I come back into lucid form, and I'm sitting in a classroom looking at a textbook, and I'm like reading it, and I look at the professor, and I'm like, "What am I doing here? Why am I?" She's like, "Just read your book." And I'm like, "No, no, no! I want to know what I'm doing here. What is going on?" And like people are looking at me like, "What is this kid's problem?" I was like, I need to know what's going on. Just read your book. Uh-uh. And I'm reading this book, and it's like it was crazy. It was insane.
It's like, here's your program. Read your book. Sit down. Read your book. Nope. Make me.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I knew I was completely lucid. I knew where I was, and I knew this was the place I needed to get to anyways. That I've been meaning to get to for a long time, and I know this place exists.
Yeah.
So I was like, you need to just let me do what I need to do. But she's like, just sit down and read your book. And I was so enthralled. I was happy that I was in the class anyway. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to try and read this book now. And sadly, that's when it ended. That's when I lost my lucidity.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was not too long ago either. It was like 2 months ago, I do believe.
Yeah.
I also, I was practicing Astral for a while and always got really, really close. And then I kind of dropped off that. And I've been wanting to pick that back up because I think if I tried and allowed just enough, that would work out really well for me. And then I get a whole lot more answers to all these mysteries.
I think it would, like, especially if you if you already know techniques and you've like been close with using them, like stick with them and keep using them. Or there's this guy named Ryan Cropper online. I watch a lot of his stuff. He does a lot of astral stuff, and I'd attempted a lot, and I would always hit these moments where it's like I couldn't tell if I was lucid dreaming or actually in the astral plane, but like I was aware that I could fly, I could do some things, I had control of it, but like it wouldn't last very long. And then I actually got one of his courses, and his whole one of his courses is like about training the ethereal body, like your phantom body. And he's like really about shutting off, like make sure you're not imagining. Like it's about feeling it all and then not imagining anything. Where some techniques are like, imagine a rope. Now pull on the rope and pull yourself out of your body on the rope until it feels real. He's like, well, then you're imagining that, and then you might accidentally fall into the lucid area instead of the astral plane, because you're lucidly now dreaming. Like and so like I've been doing that. So like I haven't fully attempted to like astral project since trying the methods, but like definitely done like I'm strengthening my phantom body, and I have that firm belief that like the next time I'm like, okay, I feel good and strong and this is a good night, this will work. But
yeah,
we'll see how we'll see what happens.
I've not had any astral efficiency yet, and I also have not made contact with my spirit guides. Not in like I realize I'm speaking to my spirit guide right now. And that really frustrates me as well. Yeah. I'm feeling it's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the funny thing about today also that I forgot, amidst all this rage, I took Trinity outside and we went to the dog park. And I took my book with me. I was like, I'm just going to let her chill and do her thing. Because playing with Trinity, there's not much to it. Like,
yeah. No, it's a simple...
It's a short attention span that...
Oh, okay.
There's no point. Like you can pick up a stick and play with her for a couple of minutes. And she's like really excited. You throw it and she watches it and she's like, okay, I'm over it. Or she'll run halfway and then get distracted by something. Like she has a goal.
She's a husky. She's a husky for sure.
Yeah.
Like that's very husky.
Like,
all my friends that have huskies that are like, they'll bring the ball back once and then be done with it.
Yeah.
Like, like even our Akita, like they're a pretty stubborn breed. He only plays fetch because you watch the German play fetch enough to realize this is what we do. Okay.
Oh, okay. Like that's the thing at home. Like have a little, like a tennis ball, and at home I can throw it and she'll bring it back to me. Like for a certain amount of time, for the husky amount of time. But as soon as we're outside, nope. That's her world. It's her say. I just have suggestions. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm reading Harry Potter. I'm almost finished with the 6th book. This will be my 8th time going through the series.
Nice.
And a monarch butterfly, it startled me. Flies up, lands on my heart chakra, and I'm like, huh. And it just sits there for a couple of minutes. And I look at it, I'm like, well, hello. And it flies away. And then I had butterflies all around me the entire time. I'm like, these are all really good synchronicities, but I'm so mad right now that I can't even enjoy this. Like, yeah. Like, Oh, it was so it's still frustrating. Like
That was very like, I missed all my rage. I'm still about to cave. Like, hi butterflies, but like I'm still in the midst of my rage right now.
right. But
It
it was
happens.
comforting at the
Like,
same time because there was a lot of synchronicities today, and it's nice because it's like the universe saying, ha ha ha. See what I did there? And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah. But really, universe, do we have to make it complicated? You want to just talk to me? That'd be cool. I like the indirect talking to strangers. It's a little creepy, but you can just talk to me.
mhm.
I'm open to receiving communication.
Yeah,
But
it's
let's do
like,
this one to one.
um, like, sorry, I don't know why it would remind me of that concept of like, alien ship comes by. Don't yank me up by my chest. That hurts. Like, throw on a rope ladder. I'm curious. I'll come around and fly over
Exactly.
with
I'll
you.
come up. It's okay. Like,
Like you don't need to do all this trickery.
right,
Like, I'm open. You can just tell me the message. And then I
right.
wonder, I'm like, or have you been? And I've been so ignoring it
I've
that I
had
have to
this
have the
thought too.
pattern to start listening.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. What it's like, am I doing something wrong? Obviously not, because that's number one, impossible, because there is no wrong or right. Number two, like, what is this? What is happening? What is going on? I want like, don't tease me like this.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Well, and if our minds and our heart like are the creator of our realities, like they lay the
Mm,
tracks for the reality train, then
yep,
it's what
Casey.
do you want to experience? Like you know something's about to shift, you know a shift is coming. So if you got to be the creator of that shift, how would you want it to be?
Is this the question I should answer now?
I'm not saying you have to answer right now. I'm saying that just might be something to look into of, you know.
That's it's interesting because I actually am very hard on myself that I don't have. I'm not that kind of person. I don't, like, I literally go with the flow and sometimes complain about it, but I don't make big picture plans for the future. Like, I have big dreams. I've done that before. Like, my biggest dream was to be an exchange student in Germany. Did it. My biggest, and back then, was I'm going to move to Germany and make a life here. Did it. And it's my dreams, the things it's just being, I want to step into the mystical. I want my life to come really as magical as it should be, because I have tons of gifts and I just don't know how to use them. That's the only thing I really want to happen in abundance. Like, I don't want to live in the scarcity anymore. Like, I'm done with it. And I said that today as well. I'm sick and tired that, I got good news and then I got into a fight. Like, I'm done with this. I don't need this. This is not okay. Why does this keep happening? Like, and of course, I could have reacted better today, but I was triggered at the same time, which is okay. I haven't really made amends yet. I'm not ready to either.
And it's okay to be in that emotion. Like it's okay to be in that anger emotion. Like too often, especially in the spiritual community, it's about, okay, feel the anger. Okay, you're an empath. Well, it's not yours. Push it over there. Let it go. Let it release over there by itself. And it's really about, no, feel into the emotion. Accept that every emotion is an aspect of love. Like love is the
Yeah.
outside ring of it all, because
Yeah.
it's like the same concept of like crying. Like you cry until you can't cry anymore, where you literally cry to either you get a headache or you're crying that you're like, why am I doing this still? Like, why am I like,
Yeah.
there's nothing left. And it's like
Yeah.
anger is a harder one to focus that on, but there's definitely
Yeah.
like a allowing yourself to be angry until you go, why am I angry? Why was I making a big deal?
I was also almost, I almost rescheduled with you because of today.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, you go talk to Garth. It's gonna do you well anyways. Every single time you talk with Garth, you go away and you feel more like yourself than when you started.
Good.
So that's happened every single time. That you
I'm
give me a breath of fresh air. You're working with me on my energy right now, and it's beautiful.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to know that. That really makes me
definitely.
happy. Like,
it's really seriously that I haven't told you yet, but after that first call, like when we just were chatting,
yeah.
When we hung up, I had so much more energy. I felt like myself again, and
you stepped into a whole new role of assisting people and being there and being the rock, and
not really knowing why. It's really it's a lot going on right now, like there's all that stuff in the personal life, and I'm so relieved. Like it really was like, took off that backpack. I couldn't believe it, how easy it was. Like it kept, the waiting time was the worst. And like I had pulled the 4 wands this morning, like before I left, or I think I was on the way, and I got the 4 wands and I was like, okay.
Success.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll take that, but I'm going to take it with a little, apprehensively approach this. But it felt comfortable. But as the time ticked by, I pulled another card, and I got like, what was it? I got the Tower in reverse. And I'm like, why? But why? Everything, being empathic, then you got the whole like train feeling going along with you, and then that's where you get all that dangerous control.
It's just other people's annoyances adding to your annoyances, and it just becomes an amplified. Yep. No, there's been moments I've come home and I'm like, hi dogs, okay, like let's go right outside and let's go like throw the ball or something, because then you're over there and I have to just stand here and I have to breathe. Like I have to like just be here for a minute, but I can't be mad at you because I can just like and they're not doing anything wrong anyways. It's like, but it's that concept of like, even though my wife's home, it's like, hi, bye. Like I can't connect with a real person right now, or this excess energy is going to get shot at you, But
the difficult life of being, highly spiritual and gifted.
Yeah, exactly. The trials of that.
Like guys, it's great, but it's very, very difficult at times.
It is. So, anyways.
So I pulled some cards or they flew out, 3 of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have so difficult. The 2 of Cups, no, 6 of Cups. So we have the 6.
6 of Cups on here. Okay, 6 of Cups.
Then the 8 of Swords, which I do not like. But I get that card a lot.
Really?
A lot. Yes.
Like you get that concept of like in the middle of the storm of like you got 2 swords to kind of fight off the other 6 flying around you, but you're so in the head you can't grab your physical swords.
Yep. And then the Ace of Swords.
Okay. An Ace of Swords. Yeah. I just like the way that one looks.
Right? It's like the Master Sword. It's
On a side note, just real fast, just something with the 8 of Swords that just popped out. Yesterday when I was talking to Joseph, we were talking about Dark Crystal a little bit and how like the wands are like spoons in there. And we made the correlation to in Midnight Gospel in like the Soul Prison episode. I think you binge watched it, right?
Yeah.
So it was in the Soul Prison episode, when he sees the guy with the spoons that's playing the spoons, he essentially gets to see 2 of wands, and then he gets to use his 2 wands to like make the and that's the shift. Like that's the first time he goes from trying to kill everyone to trying to like just make it out of the prison. And it's like this little shift of like the second he got some wands, the second he embraced the wizard, he could he could start manifesting, he could start making magic. And then with the Ace, with
that show is amazing.
Oh, that show is deep, like deeper than people realize. And then like
exactly, I put on that first episode,
and
I was like, oh wait a minute, oh shit, it's real deep. I was like, I gotta binge this now. And it was just so good. So good because for people that are a little bit more versed in the spiritual world, like it goes deep. It was like refreshingly deep.
Mm-hmm.
and so presented that not everybody's going to get it.
No.
Like some average Joe can watch it and find something. He's probably going to think it's just completely batshit crazy and enjoy it because of that.
I might enjoy that, but also enjoy the words. Like the basic podcast, like follows a good line of like essentially death. Like it's about death and rebirth, the whole series. And so like you just follow those conversations. Like something I didn't click was like the very last episode, like when he's talking with his mom, like they technically go through the steps of a very basic meditation that you can do with no money, no anything. It's like to infuse that into a show that anyone that's like, okay, watches this little like death scene is like, I wonder if I can feel inside my hands, like at least to the point of something. Like, yeah. And one of his,
good stuff.
And one of his podcasts with actually it was Duncan and Alex and Allison Gray. And they were talking and they said this, you know, like, oh, it seemed like first, you know, it seemed like a lot about death. He's like, oh yeah, season 1's all about the death. He's like, we'll see what happens next. And I'm like, oh, so there is more to come. Because
awesome.
Well, also apparently that whole part, like just as a spoiler to anyone that's watching it, alert, at the end when he lands on the bus with Ram Dass and Ram goes, am I dead? And Ram Dass goes, be here now. Ram Dass hadn't passed away yet when that was like drawn and made up. So it took on a whole different meaning later when it was published, because he had passed on before it got published. And he's like, so like in that concept, it was like really a dimension shift, not a like death shift.
Sweet. But that's exciting. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of that.
Oh, I got chills. But yeah. I know there's so much stuff in there that,
blissful. Like partying in techno world, the best day is always Sunday. Like the magic happens on Sunday. Like after you've been away for 3 days, there's something about Sunday, and it's always magical. Always. Techno Sundays are the best Sundays that you can ever have. So
there's also something about that third day journey. Like if you get out into nature and you get past like 60 hours out into nature, like you're just on the precipice of a third day, your brain shifts to a whole different thing. Like things fire different things. You see things differently. So yes, Techno Sunday. It's like it's the third day of this event. That.
Well, it was plus. You know, it was the first time I was walking around barefoot, and there came a moment on that Sunday too where I reclaimed a part of my my confidence. Like my entire childhood, I was overweight, and that programming had stuck with me. And even though I've lost a lot of weight, and I'm struggling with that right now because I'm starting to gain a little weight. I take it as a good thing because it means my body's finally healing from having the virus. But still challenging because I do not like gaining weight. I do not like when things don't fit. Like I have an amazing custom fit suit that I got done, and it does not fit. Because I've gained weight. Which is okay. I tell myself, you know, this is temporary. This is one of those things I can change. I can change everything, but this is one of those really, if you just do the work, it would just happen. But finding the motivation to do that work is the difficult part.
I talk about that a lot with health. Like I'll say, you know, like I'm a little on the bigger side, I'm a little on the overweight side. People are like, you're not fat. And I'm like, I don't say it in a way like I'm putting myself down. I know my eating style, I know my exercise style, and I'm fully aware that I've created this. And if I want to experience this differently, I know what I have to do that. And at some point, yes, I will.
But
I'm liking the way I'm playing the game right now.
Right. But on that day, there was a moment, it was hot, and I took my shirt off. And I would never, ever run around with no shirt on. So I'm running around at the festival with no shirt. And it was the most liberating feeling. Like claiming, like I had spent so much of my life like hiding myself to a certain degree. And I have these awesome tattoos, and I'd love to show them, but I was so body conscious. I was like so shamed. And on that day, I threw off my shirt and I was like, yes.
Freedom. full
And yeah,
full
and
inner child. Woo!
seriously, like I was in teetotal bliss there. Like totally lost the meaning of time. Like you didn't have to be anywhere. It was whatever you wanted to do. It was the first time in my life that I could do that. In my adult life, I had paid and earned for that. I paid for my ticket and his ticket. We had a buffet. Like he had made a joke about how much we should take from things, and I took that literally. Like we had
Exactly.
and the paranoia set back in, of course, on the way back because they'll do controls, and we had leftovers. And I was like, I paid for that. We're taking it with us, because there's no human way that we could have consumed that
Oh
much
yeah.
ketamine. He's not big on hallucinogens, but I was. Whew. But it was it sounds disclaimer to the world, like don't do that, it's not safe. Like I am not human. I am a god, and somehow this human body likes to keep up with that.
Well, like on a
Somehow.
very real note, like I've definitely been on plant medicine or like deep into a spiritual practice, and that's literally been like the doorway that comes up or the blockage of your body can only go so far. If you wish to go further, you need to transmute it to a way that it can withstand this, which is essentially be healthier, get healthier, like or form your body to a stronger way to that you can detach from it and not have these reverse effects.
A hard reset of a sort, but I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah.
And I got home, and that's when I realized what had happened. Like I got home, I was like, oh my God, I'm awake. It went quiet, and I understand so much. And so that was the beginning of Kurt's spiritual awakening. Where insane, poor Yannick. This like in my apartment took on that physical, like it was a bomb went off. Like my apartment was the physical representation of what my head had been like through all those years. And it took me a half year to get this place back to looking like an apartment again. Like we moved out, and it sat like it was horrible. Like I had friends come over and they're like, Kurt, what happened? I was like, guys, this is me trying to rearrange my life because I saw that it couldn't be like, and it looks rough. It's not pretty.
Yeah.
Like, but that's a physical representation of what my mind was like the past 27 years, 28 years. Wait, yeah, 28. Yeah.
And now it's shifted to a whole new thing. Like there's and it's interesting, like you said, like the whole hero's journey. It's like you come home and there's almost this theme between, like, if you follow it through, like you have the crown and then you have the child, which is like the next phase. There's a weird energy right between the completion and the start where it's like, yes, I have all this, and okay, here we go again. Like, here we go again, creation, seeing a jubilee, but it's and that can be a spot where a lot of things just get up and they're dusty, and it's real easy, especially in the house thing, to be like, well, I'm shifting into this and these physical things don't matter as much. And so it's like, even though you've changed, it's like, oh wait, I let that go to the wayside.
But it was a brutal process.
Yeah.
And then it gets into that reality of like all the things that happen, and it was painful. Like this past year has been painful. Spiritual awakenings, and it's painful.
Yeah.
It's so fucking painful. Like, not to paint a bad picture of being spiritual. Like it's beautiful at the same time, but my fucking God, it hurts.
Well, it hurts the ego. It hurts the parts of us that are being shedded away, being dissolved away. And it's rough, and it's not, it's like a stone tumbler. Like you throw this rough stone into a stone tumbler and it bounces around for however long, and eventually it comes out nice, polished, clean crystal, but in the meantime, like it's rough, it's hard. But it's never gonna, I mean, you have to go through that in order to know you shifted. It's like you have to face that
the worst part of
frequency.
being aware of that too. Like
Yeah.
once you've done it once, you know it's going to keep, like it will continue. And yes, it gets easier with each time because you can adjust and rise above to the next, you know, vibrational level so much easier. But still, you know, there are going to be those times where it's going to be just as gruesome in the work.
Yes.
Oh.
Yep. Well, and it's a rubber band effect. It's like a slingshot. Like farther into the darkness you go, more you'll spring forward, and at some point that momentum stops, and then you have to pull yourself back and slingshot forward again. Like
I'm hoping that this slingshot goes really far. And I'm gonna catch it on the way back because we ain't going back that far. Like this last half year, we don't need to go that far again.
And maybe that's the thing that we don't realize sometimes is that you're already still flying forward. Like you already had been released. It's just you're flying so far forward that you're breaking through walls. Like sometimes you hit a wall and you're in that moment of bursting through it. And it's not easy, but you're still in that forward direction.
But I'm excited for what's next.
Yes.
I'm always excited for what's next.
Well, I'm excited too, and I want to hear as things progress. And of course, we'll keep talking, but we'll have a check-in at the next, you know, Kurt creation.
Kurt creation, yeah. It's strange, but you know, because it's so surreal that I forget at times what I'm capable of, and then it hits you again. And you're like, oh wait, I manifested all of this. Like the whole, you know, spirit mysteries and being a luminary. Like a year ago, before the mystery school even existed, you know, I was going around saying, I'm going to work with Jordan River. I will work with Jordan River to wake the world up. I don't know how, I don't know when, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. And there you go.
Yeah.
And it's going more in that direction too. Like it's more opportunities of working with him are coming about.
And you have Kevin and but what is it?
Well, I mean, that's what you got to figure out. I don't know. It's that concept.
I know.
I really do believe, you know, comparison is the death of joy. And like, it's so easy to say that. And it's like, it's so easy when someone's like, you're awesome, to be like, well, you're awesome too. But it's different when you realize, hey, they're awesome and I'm awesome too. Like I'm just as amazing. And that's not an easy thing to do because like we have our heroes, we have people that we, how to put it, they reflect aspects of ourself that we really enjoy and they're just magnifying. It's like Amy being knowledgeable and all that. Like that's aspects of myself. I like being knowledgeable, but she knows so much. So she's like a greater manifestation of that side of me. So I look up to her. Same with Jordan. He's really good with his words. He's really good at the content he puts out. I want to be that way too. So I look up to that. But if I start living in the way of like, oh, well, Jordan's here and Amy's here and I'm here, then there's never really, it's not like that. They're station 106 and I'm station 102.
Yeah. It's also just, I don't know, really finding my identity. Of course, you know, I'm still on very much at the beginning of the process. I've had all that crazy stuff that happened as a kid where I know I have a, you know, I for certain know I play a very big role in this planet. It's one of those really strange things. It's one of those strange things to say too, right? In the spiritual community, when you start like realizing you play such a big role.
Well, and it's like, it's weird to be like, okay, get used to your destiny. Like, why haven't you accepted your destiny yet? Why aren't you, you know, stepping into it? Like, I've had those moments. I've had those moments, like, both with, like, a couple of people that passed on, but, like, you know, like, with the wolf spirit of, like, okay, here's your destiny and get used to it. And I'm like, wait, what? And even then, you talk yourself out and go, oh, well, no, that's that. And who am I to be this? Like, who am I to step into?
Exactly.
That's exactly it. Like, who are you? Like, who are you really? If you're not your thoughts, you're not your actions, you're not your body, then of course you're worthy. Of course you're worthy to be these things.
But it's just,
you're not all those aspects of yourself that you don't enjoy.
Knowing now that it's hard to put into words. Like it's okay. I've made it this far. I've realized it was no joke. So can we talk now? Because I really like some explanations, and I know that's not how it's going to work.
Hmm.
Like, there's a good possibility, yes, at some point they'll pop back up and be like, "Oh, hi." So about that, which plays into that thing that Lloyd told me, because Lloyd is also life path number 8, and these things do mean things. And he told me, he was like, we have with the life path 8 a
So real
direct connection with.
real quick for the for the uninitiated, of anyone that might be listening, can you like in a 30-second explain life path for anyone that might not know what that is?
Oh goodness gracious, you put me on the spot.
Yeah, sorry.
Numerology. Well, that's the thing. I'm still learning, so it's really hard for me to
Yeah.
put this in words. But basically, um, the way I think of the number 8 as a life path number is like my tattoo. So you have your life path. You can find this out with your name. Just Google how to find your life path number. It'll save us a lot of time at this point. But basically, every number 1 through 9 is significant, and we all have a number, multiple numbers intact. But my life path number is 8, and I look at it like the infinity symbol.
Mhm.
Like, my life path is never ending. I have always been here, and I will always be here. It's a constant.
Gotcha.
And because of this, Lloyd mentioned that we have a direct connection to Thoth, and that Thoth is always with us. And it clicked. I was like, oh shit, that makes a whole lot of sense,
Yeah.
because you never know how he's going to present himself. And maybe he's the wizard, Hermes. And I've had this connection with, like, since awakening. I'm like, Hermes, why do I have such a Hermes? You're the wizard, Kurt. Hermes is like, you're connected with that path. Like, that's you. That's what that was. That was, yes, they exist because it's a parallel dimension. But basically, how I see it now, and I'm starting to get chills because it's like putting the pieces together. That was Thoth in Hermes form, playing Dumbledore, teaching you at that point where you were highly receptive, because the plans and the job you have, what you destined yourself to do here, only is just beginning. And now that you understand it to a certain degree, now I get it, I feel it as well. It's like, and it's like when we were talking, I also know that this is not yet my time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to just take my time. It's okay, because my time to step up isn't here yet.
Yeah.
Like, we're still learning, building our forces,
Yeah.
gathering
What was
together our tribes.
Yes, like you're building that energy. You're building that garden. You're growing
Mm-hmm.
it, and that's it's just the thing. It's like for me, like I know my life path is 4, and then as well as like tying into that, Thoth is always revealing himself, or that source speaks to you in the way that your filter works. And so for me, like
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason that a lot of the time my things are past ancestors, or they're plants, or they are wolf spirit, or they're bear, they're animalistic spirits, because that's my filter into the medicine man, into the shaman beliefs of, okay, this is how they come forth. Me
Mm-hmm.
knowing that like that's gonna show up for someone different. And like that makes sense. Like Dumbledore shows up for you and a wolf spirit shows up for me, like, but they're still teaching those same things.
Exactly.
Still, yeah. Because that's how so I listen. Like, because for me, like to be
Right.
honest,
Exactly.
like if I had a dream of
Exactly.
Dumbledore, I probably wouldn't listen. Or if you had a dream of like a wolf come to you and starts talking to you, you're gonna be like,
I
oh,
would
that's a
listen.
dream.
Yeah.
Ah,
My mom actually saw a white wolf, um, when she was in South Carolina at some point. We have Native American. I have Cherokee Indian blood in me.
oh, that's
The other
awesome.
side.
Yeah, I have Sioux, but it's so far back that it's like, how to put it. So like my fourth great grandfather, um,
Yep.
is actually Porter Rockwell, which I mean you can look up him, and he's that ties into the Mormons and real way, but he was half Native American, or believed to be half Native American, because records, and then he married a Native American woman. So like if you follow the line down, it's like my third great grandfather's half, my great great grandfather's a quarter, like to the point where it's like either I'm like a 32nd or like a 35th, like enough where it's like,
I think
enough where like there's no legal claim, there's no official like tribe claim, but there's enough where it's like when I am on the reservations or I am around the shamans, there is that easier connection. There is that like slight, it's easier for me to step into the both realms, to be here and on a different plane.
Yeah.
And like that was the craziest thing, to be honest. Like the first time I did like actual, like, I mean, I've done mushrooms and plant medicine, but the first time I was in an actual ceremony and sat down and take the tea, it was like immediately like just super deep. Hey, I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just simply asking you, this is the path of why you came to this life this time.
I said a year ago that actually, because of how I react with psychedelic substances and plant medicines, it's obvious that being a shaman wouldn't be the worst of ideas for me.
Yeah.
But I'm also, like I said that also a year ago, like I do want to speak with a shaman and see if that's perhaps, but I'm not decided yet. I haven't found my true soul purpose. I know I'm supposed to be a magician, obviously. That's very apparent.
Well, and that's the thing is like, I think about that and it's like, it's that concept of like, I mean, I resisted that for so long and I still feel that call. I still feel this, I still have dreams of being in the jungle for months. I still have all these things. And then there's this that I feel called to do that I'm enjoying to do. So I'm like, how does that,
hybrid.
And it's the fact
That's
of like,
exactly
you don't know always what path to walk long-term unless you walk some paths short-term. Like unless you, and that's the thing is like experience whatever the road is as long as it takes you, experience the road as long as it serves you. And then once it's not serving you anymore, then it's time to find a new path. It's time to shift cycles.
Very Scorpio-esque as well with the death and rebirth cycles. I go through that a lot, like a lot. Of course, I didn't recognize those patterns earlier as part of that, but I think even as a child, I had some kind of knowledge that that I am very cyclical, and that it plays into that 8 as well. I go through all these cycles, and I'm very aware of it. So it just really plays in together. It's so cool.
It is. It's cool. Like it's
when you get the puzzle pieces and it starts coming together, like, that makes sense. The aha moments or zooms. Yeah.
Well, and that's for me, like 4 and Capricorn and stability, like being stable, like, but you get to the highest point of the mountain you can, or as the deep as the sea as you can, and then you get stable. It's like that concept of like building a base after you get there so other people can come enjoy it too. It's like, look, I blazed this trail for you. And that's I think my ascendant is Sagittarius, which I can't talk today, Sagittarius.
I have days like that. It's okay.
And that's like, being flown in that direction. And so like, there's definitely that concept of like, let me get there, let me blaze the trail. But I've noticed that all my life, it's always like, I'm on my journey. And then I hit a certain point in my journey where I'm like, well, I want other people to notice this too. Like, how do I create something for them? And, most of the time that didn't work until like recently of like, how do I create something where other people can experience the truths that are working for me? And it's like, and then things started clicking. Yeah, it started clicking of like, oh, like 4 is my life path, because that's all about stability and like experience and like, like that's always like a good solid step right before the leap. Like, okay, you made it somewhere. Now you got to jump off the cliff again and open the parachute again.
Isn't that fun?
It's so fun and tasking.
No, it's just yes, very
wonderful. But this has been a wonderful conversation.
It's really good.
Yeah, it was fun. These always go like a great direction. Like every episode always goes a very fun, interesting direction, and it's like make the plan and then throw the plan out the window.
Exactly. Yeah, I had a phase when I was younger where people like, oh, well, you want to make plans? I'm like, no, I don't make plans. I have ideas, but plans lead to disappointment. ideas are always open.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, well, do you want to hang out? I was like, I like that idea, but I'm not gonna, we'll see what happens.
We'll see how the day unfolds and what I'm feeling in the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm still that way.
That was college.
Yeah. I'm still that way. Like, a lot of people where I'm like, yeah, let's hang out. They're like, let's hang out. I'm like, yeah, how is like 6 p.m. tonight work? And then it's like 5 o'clock rolls around and I'm like, I've just had a day where I just don't want to connect anymore. Like I'm zapped. And it's like, I hate to cancel on you guys, but can we just do a different day? Like, and I'll tell them straight up, like, I'm exhausted. Like, I would be no fun.
I do that a lot too. Like, people will like, I hate the way it sounds as well. I'm also not spontaneous. Like, don't call me up in the middle of like, give me, like, if you want to hang out, give me a little bit of forewarning so I can like feel it out if it's gonna work for me or not. Like, don't call me up and expect me to like be like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Because most likely I'm gonna be like, I need to fill it out first.
Like, I am more of a planner. Like, I like to plan it out, but at the same time, like, let's say for whatever random reason you came and knocked on my door from Germany, you're here now in the States, you come knocking on my door and you're like, hey, let's go hiking. I'm going to grab my bag and my shoes because it's like, well, that's an odd thing to be going on. I should probably follow this.
Of course. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Those kind of scenarios.
Like the extreme spontaneous, I'm down for, but the like spontaneous, let's go grab a drink. Like we can plan that later.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one friend, he does it all the time. He's like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, no. Yeah. No, that's too short notice. Sorry, I can't do that.
Or I have one guy, he'll be like, hey, let's hang out tonight. And I'm like, cool. And then like 2 days go by and he's like, hey, I'm on my way over. And I'm like, well, it does work right now on my time schedule. Somehow you time warped yourself there to like a free time. So it still works, but it's like oddly like, did you just disappear for 2 days?
I have one like that too.
It just like, happened to be a free moment anyways where you feel like doing
it. Yeah.
Like, I feel like those are the friends that are the real time travelers. They just don't know it. Like, it's like somehow in their own reality, like those days disappear.
Yeah, I'm very interested with the pattern that's going on, though. I might be doing some time traveling this week, and
gotcha.
The magic happens.
Magic happens.
But anyways,
yes,
it's been a pleasure, man.
It has indeed, and keep
thank
me posted.
For stabilizing my vibe.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for enjoying. Like I get uplifted too. Like, this is my high. Like, this is a high for me. So
I'm also happy that I can help in that, because having a day like today, I would not expect it, but this is why I was so, tuned in. I was like, I have to do this. It's good for you. You will feel much better after you talk with Garth. Just do it. Yeah. Like, don't talk yourself out of it.
It worked great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And have a great day.
Have a good one. Thank you, brother.
You too.
All right. Ciao.
Ciao.
If you're gaining value out of this, please hit that like and subscribe button for me. Thank you.